Welcome back to Tran Wins Siralim Ultimate. We're going to take the previous build from the last episode and tweak it just a little bit more because there's definite room for improvement that I observed. Alright, a lot of dark whispering. That was a lot of dark whispering. I don't know why it cast so many times. Probably because the scepter activated Dark Whisper, which is why it happened. But because it was casting a spell, it probably triggered again. That's what I'm thinking happened. Wow. Okay. Well, whatever. Oh wow, I just got boned. Thankfully, I've got 3 revive people here. I've got the defending Seraph in the middle. And if he defends, he revives the whole party. I've got the Pandemonium Rebirth on the far right. And I've got the secret recipe on the middle left. I think on my initial showing of the super party, what's also the Pitworm Master. Oh, alright. What is this? Chance to dodge 77%. Oh, jeez. That's why everybody else uses magic. And he's my only physical attacker. I would invest a lot more in my gems, but I'm a little leery of more of them disappearing. I've already lost at least 2 of them, I think maybe 3. I can confirm that the ones on my Tanuk Rook Chaos Gems, they were definitely upgraded because he was gonna be the star for a while. But then I decided it wasn't gonna make for good viewing, so I nerfed the Tanuk Rook, and I guess he ate his gems while he was waiting for me. Like decorations.
Yes, I remember you. Leave me alone, I hate you.
Yep, his voice is still annoying. You can't help but order your creatures to attack. Alright, let's take a look. Enemies always have poison. At the start of this creature's turn, the potency of the enemy's poison debuff increases by 50%. He has 105,000 life. That is probably because... Let's see. Oh no, actually that's just natural life. He does not. I do not see the extra health increase here. I see extra defense and chance to resist damage 21%. That's just natural life. Okay. Suffer for me. And in case I ever need direct damage, that's my dude right there. And then the other four are spellcasters. Alright, where was that exit? Anything I want to buy since I've moved back over here? Alright, so something to know is that if you fight the master of the units specific to the god, you can generally unlock most of them in your bestiary, but sometimes you will need to buy a creature. The ones I bought are either they didn't show up in the master's fight, or they have abilities that I think I might use down the line. At one point I will eventually buy them all, but now is not that time. Not until I have enough to buy those projects willy-nilly. Let's talk. First off, take a look at my creatures. I have gone through and I made a calculator for spells. Consistently, it is better to pick a lower quality attack spell from your own class than to spend a property getting class swap. So for example, Rapture, according to my calculations, and maybe my calculations are incorrect, even though this will do massive damage, because I'm spending one on class swap for it, and Generous because it's also very powerful, and because it has one charge, one of its best things you can do is give it away to others. But because it's only got one property to do damage, it's actually less powerful than, say, Starfire that does moderate damage, which has an extra perk. Since they don't need to class swap that, I can just add damage increase by 50%. So 50% more moderate damage is actually better than massive, at least according to the calculations I had. So I went through and designed spells for everybody. And they generally have generous spells to share, and then one spell that is their own. That star indicates what I assume should be their default spell when I don't have a macro. That's what I just cast that and leave me alone. I do have actually a macro set up for the Mimic. It's not a very good macro, but it pretty much covers his bases. If my white is at full hit points, cast Metamorphosis on him, which draws him anywhere from 1 to 100%. That's basically all it does, is randomizes his hit points. If he happens to have Arcane after that has been taken care of, go and cast Star Pack, my most powerful spell. Otherwise, worry about getting my ally Soul Sacrifice or whatever, because he can only cast Metamorphosis or Soul Sacrifice one time a battle. So that is something that he can handle on his own before he starts blowing up the enemy with Blistering Radiance and so forth. Otherwise, he can start casting some of his ethereal spells such as Volcano and Planets. If he can't do any of that for whatever reason, he can start punching people, blocking, provoking, or skipping his turn. So that's the only macro I've set up for anybody so far. And I've spent a long time prepping at macros. Alright, other thing I needed to talk about. I thought, and I had to wait until I could finish my assassination mission before I could find this out, I thought I could get a Bastion brick. I have an S rank for the Bastion. If we look at the bestiary, and scroll over to Bastion, we can see here it's S rank. And I thought, okay, I can now assassinate him. Even it says here, S, unlock this creature's assassination mission. Oh, now I understand that says it for everybody. If you scroll on and look at, let's say, Mimic, you cannot actually summon him from the Divination Candle, so you have to just keep fighting him or hunt him or whatever to get this up to S rank. When I get him to S rank, I will... Actually, you know what? I probably can't even assassinate... Well, no, I should be able to assassinate him. Anyways. Oh, it says no material exists. Ah, that's going to change a couple of my plans. Alright, that's fine. Mimic does have some decent stats. So, I did all that farming for naught because I still need to buy a Bastion brick from him, so I'm going to do that. The other one I need to buy is Mind Prison, but since I had to get to level 25 for Gunfurian just to unlock this guy, I assume I'm going to need to get to level 30 with Gunfurian in order to get Mind Prison. We'll go ahead and get the rest of these. And get these. There we go. And when I get Citadel, I'll buy that. I wanted to go faster than the previous one. The previous one I went slowly so that people could see the power of the indirect damage build. I really like indirect damage because it hits everybody. Instead of killing a person one at a time and doing this 6 times, I just hit everybody. In this case, that was literally one move in this game. Right there. My white was healing, and as he was healing, he just kept doing damage. It was literally my sadist's turn at that point. That Dark Whisper is kind of funny that it can initiate its own Dark Whisper. It's just totally not necessary. I almost kind of want to get rid of Dark Whisper just to make the fights go faster. In this case, this area is Battle Traits 1. Oh, that does remind me. There was a comment by Jakuru who told me that he thought the reason my Golem build did not work was because of the Maximum Traits unstable realm property, and he's absolutely right. I had actually completely forgotten about it because it has never done anything to me before. See, what Maximum Traits works against are those temporary traits you get that are not a matter of your character's sheet. So that area had trait level 1. And that meant that I could get at most 1 extra trait. That's why all my guys got self-awareness, because I used the first Golem, but if I had, for example, instability traits max 2, then they would have gotten 2 Golem traits. So after this, there's probably 2 things we'll try doing. 1, I'll try the Golem build one more time, see if I can get it to at least do something. And 2, we'll switch back to my Evoker class so I can get progress towards those Goblet missions. Did I finish down here? Yeah, I did. Alright, I think we're ready.
You should never have come here. I'll make quick work of you.
Oh, you will you? Alright, here's a complete joke build using the Golems. I wasn't actually expecting this to get this far because we're just level 1 and the enemy is level 1014. So now the game will continue forever. I don't have to do anything else, it's just gonna go on forever. And one of my golems is still dead. Because no turns are actually taking place, my cleric's revival ability is not actually happening. So if I replace one of the boots with a resurrection spell of some sort, he probably would have revived. But this is just a complete joke build. There's no point to having this. Other than the fact that I wanted to make sure that anybody watching this series knows that you can pretty much soft lock your game should you decide to take timeline traveling a little bit too far. Alright, let me explain how this would work if I weren't in a unstable realm that had a max trait modifier of 1. Given that I keep running into these, I'm not sure I'll really be able to use a Golem build reliably, but I might be able to work something out. In an ideal environment, this is what it would be. With the cockatrice, it converts my first race, which is a Golem, and gives that to my 4th, 5th, and 6th characters, which are the Nyx Informer, the Snake Thing, and the Priest. So now they count as Golems, so they all share traits. Every single creature in this party shares its first trait. I will call it the innate trait, and then the second trait I call the fused trait, and the third trait I call the equipped trait. This is how I keep track of my builds when I'm trying to plan things around. But when I'm making a build, I always try to figure out what the least effective trait is, the least important one. It can still be useful, but I figure out the least important trait is, like, give that as the 3rd slot. That way, if I ever am disarmed, I'm not totally posed. Then I try to figure out which of the 2 remaining traits. Then I try to figure out which of the 2 remaining monsters I want the character's class to be. Since you can always change the color of your gems, it may not matter too much, but I will tell you that you can really ramp up the damage of your spell gems if you leave that extra slot open. So keep that in mind. For no particular reason, I like to keep my party balanced, so I want one of everything in the team. But yeah, at this point, the game has actually not progressed past the first turn. If you see me holding this, the view properties button down, and you can see that only one of my characters has had 1 move, and that was skip turn. And the game is still progressing, and the enemy will never get a turn. There's a very infinitesimal chance. I could probably leave this game on for a week straight, and I'm pretty sure the enemy would not get a turn. And even if they did, they're confused, silenced, blinded. So I have pretty much taken my level 1 noobs and completely frozen the enemy out through the power of Kronos. So if I wanted to refine this build a little bit, and I don't want to, but if I wanted to refine this setup a little bit, I would make sure I had at least a revival spell somewhere. Right now, I just slapped Benediction on all of them because I didn't really care. But this is completely useless. But here's the thing. You can take something like this and tweak it so that this party of level 1s can kill any group of enemies. You could maybe come up with a way that your characters would cause the enemy to lose health or take debilitating status effects, punch themselves in the face, whatever, at the start of your turn or whenever your turn ends. I never did quite figure out why my spitting basilisks weren't able to damage the enemy sometimes. I don't know why. Sometimes the enemy would just take 0 damage, and maybe that was just redirected damage, prevented damage from a realm instability. I don't know. But let's say I just put that on a couple of these guys here. The enemy would be toast. Right? The trait is enemy does 50% of their current damage, or current health, I mean. So they would lose 50% of that current health, and they would likely die at some point, especially if that damage can be modified or improved. For example, instead of just 50%, class bonuses took into effect. Things like that. So a party of level 1s, if you can lock down the timeline, you can do whatever you want to the enemy, and they are helpless to you. So I could put on debuffs, give them weak and vulnerable, then get an abomination that has a 35% chance to kill enemies with weak and vulnerable. I've also experimented a little bit with a build that incorporates a Reaper, which you will see as I bring out the Evoker, because that's my next Goblet quest. Building is fun, and I think it may help keep the series alive as I chew my way up to the Gate of the Gods. So I'm at rank 100, I'm at realm 180, and I think it's 240. I thought I heard that somewhere, I don't remember. To get this effect, realistically, I just needed Carnogenesis and 2 sources of party-wide healing. And that's it. And I pretty much do that with just 1 character slot. So you can use 1 character slot to lock down the timeline if you felt like it. I think by this point, this probably would get nerfed if the developer knew that you could very easily do this. But that being said, I hope he doesn't. I think it's kind of fun. One of the reasons why I really like this game is the insane amount of customization that you have available. Some games don't even change your armor when you put them on. This game, you can fuse two different completely monsters together and come up with your own strategy. Like this. One of my monsters in the past attacks often and keeps the enemy from dodging. This was used specifically to counter enemies' dodge realm instability. I took the Clutcher, which says that if an enemy dodges, you give them a debuff. In general, you don't want to plan your strategies around the enemy dodging you, right? But once he dodges, he's going to be petrified or stoned, and then he can't dodge anymore, and then he'll be punched to death. So things like that. You can create your own combinations here, and everybody's build can be different if they choose to personalize or customize or experiment. I believe the game really shines in its customization. So I mean, personally, I dislike it when stuff gets nerfed. I enjoy seeing games break under the creativity and ingenuity of the players enjoying the game. And every time something gets nerfed, something creative gets nerfed, I feel like a part of the game's potential goes away with it. However, I mean, the fact that I can do this at level 1, and again, I can do whatever I want to the enemy at this point with the other 5 characters, but the fact that I can do this at level 1, it probably does mean it's broken. If you've dabbled in the game at all, you can probably start to conjure up some ideas in your head what you could do with the other 5 character slots if the enemy was unable to move. For example, I'm healing myself. I think there's a spirit ability, or I think they're called abnegation or something, that says that when you get healed, you do damage to the enemy. They would be dead by now, considering the fact my units have trillion hit points. At level 1. And I've still only taken 1 move, period. I can think of no other game that has allowed this much genuine customization. While the going through the realms is definitely repetitive, I think the true value lies in learning just how the traits interact with each other. And maybe that's also something I enjoy because of my previous programming experience. So I look at these things and I think, oh, you know, I bet this would work. When I learned that there were start of turn abilities, and if you haven't taken your turn but someone else has moved ahead of you, they get to take their turn. That essentially was all I needed to create an infinite time loop. This time loop doesn't even allow battle fatigue to set in. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and kill the process and we'll go back to the normal game now. But I hope this joke demonstration has shown a little bit about what I enjoy about the game, and why I might start just playing around with more random builds rather than going with my overpowered stuff. When I'm farming, I definitely do the overpowered stuff. Okay, that should be enough for episode 23. Thank you very much for watching Tran win Siralim Ultimate. I'll see you next time, where I try to create another crazy build for the Evoker.